Good evening. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Monday, the 23rd of September, 2024. And I'll tell you, folks, I already know it's fall because as I look out the windows here in my studio, and I do have windows in them, it's darkish, getting real dark. And that tells me, I remember 8 o'clock at night. So that's how fast things are changing. It's the first day of fall. But it wasn't a fall for the gold market. As you can see, while it's down right now $1.60, it had a pretty good day. This market's now hanging between 2650 and 2600. So it keeps ratcheting itself up. I still contend it is a market that will move hard to the upside before the end of the year again. The silver, I like that it's correcting. It's going to offer some opportunities, I think, for entry. Copper market, well, it's counting now, and the reason it's holding so well, China's about to release some ideas or events to try to support the economy. Probably a lot to do with interest rates. We'll see, but that's been in the news today. We're getting a bit of a correction in the stock market for a change tonight. Remember, Monday up, Tuesday reversal. That could well be the case. But again, it's just new highs. As we're looking at the currency markets tonight, most of the currencies, as you could see at this point in time, are down a little bit against the dollar, which was up, but a minor amount today. When we're looking at bonds and notes, they have been adding back some yield. And on the energy markets, they finished off lower today in the energies in terms of the crude and the products. Natural gas was up, and one of the reasons it was up, and tonight it's down a little bit, but it was up good today. There's another set of hurricanes building, and they're talking of shut-ins again happening in that same area. So first there's storms in the Yucatan, then that one's going to swing, and there's another one coming out of the Caribbean. So be ready. This is the heart of this season. People don't realize June to November is when the hurricane season's in full swing. So let's take a look, if we could, at a few things right now. First, let's go to where we're at. Redbook Group's going to update their weekly retail sales in the morning. Case-Shiller 20 Metro home prices, that'll come out at 8 o'clock. And the prior month prices were up 6.5% year over year. Wow. And now with interest rates down near 6%, I don't know. You know, people that want to sell, they may not do anything until the spring. The Conference Board's U.S. Consumer Confidence Index comes out tomorrow at 9 o'clock. They expect it at 102.8. Richmond Fed will update their monthly manufacturing sector numbers tomorrow morning at 9. Last month's index was negative 19. And then we get to the API numbers, and they'll come out around 3:30. Now, it's interesting what is going on. Let's see if I can get this to bring me to the next. I want to do something different here. So let me take you back here. Here we go. I'm going to step back off the chart for just a minute over here. This is September. Notice how the market typically falls at this time of year. Did we get that? No. What changed? Why didn't that happen? Well, one event is the market leading up to the beginning of a rate cutting cycle, and that probably threw the seasonal off. Now that that's behind the market, the period that I've got outlined here to right in through the beginning of October, in other words, this week is often the weakest week of that cycle. After that, you start climbing back up. Now, I've done this on a 5-year basis. I also did it on a 10-year. And you can see this market has a big tendency to make moves to the upside. So I find this pretty fascinating as to what to look at. If this was your weak period, either the cycles get completely inverted. I don't believe that'll be the case, because come November, we'll know who the president is, good, bad, indifferent, whatever you think. That'll be behind us, and the market will start looking on. What we have to be worried about a little more this week is, what are we going to do with the budget? You know, I like the idea that Mike Johnson threw of just a 3-month let's get to a hump number and see what's going to happen. I didn't hear too much about it today, so we're going to find out if that can go anywhere. He did pull out the voter ID part of it. That's good news. We'll see if everybody will accept that. Obviously, everyone will fight to the last second, and then they'll pass it, because nobody's going into an election shutting down the U.S. government. So consider that folly. All right? Now let's go back to the charts if we could and see what we've got. And here we're going to take a look first at the gold market. And I always like when you look up here, and I'll start there, because that gives you the time that I'm doing this and everything else in the markets. Obviously, you can see on a weekly basis, if we were to close right here, it's an all-time high on a closing basis. When you look at what the market did, it's another week, it's another set of new highs. So gold has broken out of all this, made a run. Even if it were to break hard, I don't think there's monstrous decay on the downside, because nobody's buying into the fact yet that shelter costs and others are falling. We still have the inflation scenario where you got to keep looking over your shoulder. Yes, it'll fall, but not gallop to the downside. And if the dollar weakens a lot and these other Fed cuts come in, then gold gets that part of it going forward, plus world events. Today, you did hear Israel hit Lebanon with over 1,000 airstrikes. You heard me, 1,000 airstrikes. We haven't seen anything like that since the 70s. 500 people reportedly dead. That's an early count, over 1,000 injured. They told in Lebanon where they were going to hit, and they went after target upon target where they think munitions, rocket launchers are. Obviously, Hezbollah's been striking back, and Israel's moving people out of zones where they think that will go. But at least they have their Iron Dome, and that they can get most of what is fired from Hezbollah. The problem is, what does this do? Okay, where's the peace going to come of all this? I saw today the Iranian president who was getting ready to address the General Assembly. By the way, so is Netanyahu, so that'll be interesting. And they're in New York. I know that the Iranian president is. I don't know if Netanyahu's there yet. Somebody's got to talk sense into these people, is to find a way out. That's the key. Find a way out. Finding a way out means protecting Israel from further attacks, by the way. And finding a way out means setting up Gaza where the people have a life and rebuilding it. That, to me, is it. Security for everybody. I'm not a politician, but, I'm a human, and that's what you believe in. Higher lows, higher highs over all the key moving averages. You can see where the resistance is, but the market's riding it. Remember, I just spoke to you on last week. I said we've got a gorilla glue trade in the making, and when that happens, you generally get an embedded reading, which tells me on breaks, I am looking at least to tell customers to buy the gold on breaks. Where? Well, that's in my subscriber videos. Silver is again losing to gold on a correction, and that puts silver in an interesting area. I continue, and I've said it before, I think the market's got great support between 30.04 to 29.92, the combination of the 100-day average and the 18. And now the question is, can the market, I don't think it was embedded. You cannot count Tuesday because we don't know where it'll finish, but Monday both numbers were over 80. The day before, Friday, they were. I don't think they were the day before, and they weren't. So tomorrow's an important day for silver. If it's going to change from being overbought to locking in a bull trend, it should happen with tomorrow's action. Otherwise, if it doesn't do that, the odds are even greater that you're going back down to that level. In the copper market, well, what you're playing here is everybody. I want to use that word very carefully, but G7 countries, most of them, people are looking to see interest rates from most central banks continue to be cut. Obviously, Japan's not cutting theirs, and there's a number of other banks that may not be cutting theirs. You go to South America, it's even more of those. But we are at that point where, is that going to benefit copper? Now, it's come up off the $4 range, and trying to buy a market that's gone up this much, this fast, is often a little bit difficult. A lot of resistance, as I see it, at the 440 level. 440.65, Bollinger top, 439.95, the 100-day average. Where's the big support? Down here at 422.30, down to the 18-day average, 421.45. So that's where I think you're at. You're not embedded. You are overbought. Platinum has had that break we talked about, where the market was setting up the swing line down, and it was probably going to go back to the 18-day average. At first, I thought it would do better, frankly, at the 200. Right here. When it did this, this was your battleground, the 100-day average to the upper band. I thought you'd have better support at the 200. You went right through that today, so that's not going to count. It probably won't be much resistance on the way up. The resistance is back at the 100 is my guess. Then in the dollar index, so the market rallied back, fought a battle, and it's continuing to fight a battle at this 18-day average. Momentum is trying to swing up. If it's going to break down, this is your next support zone, and the battleground's probably the 186 level is what I'm thinking on that market. So if you're interested in keeping up with what we do, you know, we do this each morning, whether you trade futures, stocks, the spider markets, they're all there. And what I do is first thing in the morning, frankly, I start out at 6 in the morning, I'll open up my charts, and they look different than what you're seeing. They'll have a black background because they jump out. I show you and teach you what the different studies are that I'm using, and there's more of them on this chart than you're used to seeing here. And there's only 5, but they're so important, and each one acts as a filter on the other study. So as you go through that, a new video, I talk the fundamentals. It's in our member login. You also get a QT application if you want to look at them on your phone. I'll review 40 futures and charts, special reports. In fact, I'm going to be doing a special reports this week, so be ready for those. I'm just trying to pick out the markets I want to do right now, but they're included in the subscription. Other people do pay for those. Points of entry, exit, profit objectives, why I'm doing what I am, why I'm recommending what I am. When I say what I am, that's me as your teacher telling you what to be doing and where to go with that. You go to iraepstein.com research if you want to see this. You can move your cursor up here. That's another way to do it. If you have questions, call my staff. But I really believe the combo is your best package if you're a video-only person. And the reason is so many of the spider ETFs are based on what the futures do. TLT, BND, a DIA, QQQ. I can go on. My beard will grow longer. I'm Ira. You have yourself a wonderful evening. I'll catch up with everybody tomorrow morning and, of course, in the other videos tonight. Take care.